All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Doug Cundiff here. And as you see, I have my guest today, Linda Silva, who you'll get to hear from in a little bit. Um, I want to kind of frame today's call. Over the past several weeks, and actually since we started the series, we've had a blend of structure to the call. Sometimes we're talking about strategies in which all of us can go out and engage other practitioners. And sometimes we're listening to actual practitioners share how they use OliLife, PEMF, and other frequency systems in their practice to help their patients, and sometimes share with the device with the patients themselves. So those calls, again, geared towards helping all of us get more knowledge, more tools in our back pocket so that when we're speaking with other practitioners, we have reference points to share. One of the stories I'd like to share today is how Linda came to be here in OliLife. I have another team member who's on the call, but she's under the weather, Jordan Gatlin. We're going to be on the call together, but it kind of hit her real quick today. So she's going to listen in and maybe chat me if I mess something up with the story. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the story on how things came to be. And then we're going to hear from Linda. So I would say January of this month, I was attending a pickleball event, surprise pickleball, to watch some friends participate in a tournament. At the tournament, there was a table set up by a pickleball store who had different pickleball supplies, but they also had nutritional drinks that you could sample. And at that table was Jordan and her husband, Graham. So I'm watching the event. My wife's there. She's not watching the event. She's checking out what else is around. She was watching the event, but she was checking out what else was there. And she goes to the table and strikes up a conversation with Jordan, and quickly they hit it off. They realize that they have some similar backgrounds and trainings, which I'll share a little bit later. But they really hit it off, and they actually got each other's contact information. So I tried a sample of one of the nutritional drinks they had as well, and went about watching the event, and the event was done and life goes on. Well, the next day or two, my wife, Lori, and Jordan connect by text, and they agreed they want to get together for dinner. So I said, oh, what's going on? And she said, well, Jordan has nutritional drinks that I'm really interested in, and I'm thinking I can share a little bit of OliLife. I said, well, of course you can. That'd be awesome. So they go out and have dinner. And what I learned in speaking with Jordan is that she attended with, yes, they wanted to get to know each other further. Again, they had the similar backgrounds. They both are certified in cellular detox. They went to the same program, which was pretty cool and small world. But they both went there to share and to learn. And I spoke with Jordan. She goes, I went there to listen more than talk, because the more you listen, the more the other person's talking, the more they're getting to share or sell themselves, depending on what it is that they want to present to you. So they go about their dinner. They hit it off. They come home. Lori comes home and says, hey, she's awesome, and she's doing this and this, but I really think there's an opportunity for them to share OliLife. And we agreed at dinner that I'm going to connect you with her. So I said, that's great. So we do it the typical way we do. Lori got a 3-way text going. It was Jordan, Lori, and myself. Lori introduced me. I said, hello, nice to meet you. And then I left a voice message telling a little bit more about our story, because at dinner, Lori was not there pitching OliLife. They truly and genuinely were getting to know one another and just, feel things out. So we went about doing that. Jordan responded, and what we agreed to do is go to their store, the store that was represented at the pickleball tournament with the table. We went to their store and we brought the P90 Plus to have her do a test drive. We were hoping her husband, Graham, would be there as well, but he was called out. So instead, actually, Jordan called over another friend of hers from across the street that happens to be a physical therapist, and she came and tried it as well. But we went through the test drive, if you will, and it was just like a grounding gathering roadshow, right? So we brought our P90 Plus, we brought the conductivity pen, I had the blood analysis video ready to go and share. And I had sent to her the web page link that we had in advance of that meeting. So we arrive. Because time was short, she called her friend over first, and she got to test drive it before Jordan did, and then Jordan got to do it. Asking good questions. If there was a question that it was better to let ChatGPT know, we deferred to ChatGPT, and we stuck with what we've talked about before. Instead of making it too technical of a test drive, just keep it simple, right? Conductivity pen, hydrate, blood flow video, answer questions with ChatGPT, and it was great. Now, because Graham wasn't there yet, Jordan said, okay, well, let me talk with Graham and see if there's an opportunity to use it here in the store. And the reason why, not only did she was interested in having it for herself, but also in the store, it's a pickleball store. Everyone comes in with aches and pains and all the time. You have better shoes that hurt my plantar fasciitis, whatever it might be. So they hear it all the time. And so remind me to tell you what they came up with afterwards. And so we part ways. We're going to follow up with her within the week. We continue to communicate, and they decided they wanted to move forward. So Jordan got her P90 plus. The first interaction was January, I would say the beginning of February. She's in with the P90 plus. So as we're continuing to go through onboarding, Jordan understands different calls, a community, and so on, and she sees that we do practitioner calls. And she had also shared with Laurie that she has done health fairs in her store, and that was something that she might want to do. And so one of the early actions that we took in sharing Ollie Life was she hosted a health fair. They closed their store down in the late afternoon on a Saturday. They closed the store down. She invited some other vendors, and she had a health fair. And so at that event, there were 3 other vendors. And then because Jordan and I, we were partnering, we decided I would be the one representing Ollie Life, even though she was going to incorporate it into a new offering that she had, but she has a pickleball store, so she wasn't going to be there positioned as, and now I'm a distributor for Ollie Life. It was a fine line that we needed to walk there to not confuse patrons who would come in. So the day of the event, the traffic for the fair itself was lower, but it was perfect because there were other vendors there that we got to test Ollie Life. So it's like, come on over. And what did we do? We did our own little grounding experience. We had the conductivity pen, we had the blood flow video. And so one of the vendors, her name is Amy. She has a sound frequency studio, sound baths. It's called the Zen Den. It's awesome. And then we had another vendor there. Her name is Liz. She works across the street at a light therapy place. And so they were already frequency-based practitioners, if you will, of varying kinds that were there to share what they have. But also, oftentimes in those situations, those same vendors, they're at a fair because they're looking for new customers. And aren't we all looking for additional revenue streams, right? So during the event, and then the other vendor was a physical therapist who I had met before at another pickleball tournament through Jordan. And he was there as well. We're still working on him. That's follow-up in May. But the two that were there, the other 2 that were there, Amy and Liz, from that event, we followed up and they enrolled in Ollie Life. So the first thing is, and it kind of just pulling it together so far, is we were at a pickleball event. There was a table. My wife struck up conversation. It turned into a dinner. It turned into a new customer. The new customer has done health fairs before. She hosted one to kickstart her Ollie Life business. She got 2 folks to sign up. That was her left and right. It was perfect. And we were off to the races. During that event, Amy, who was one of the vendors, said, hey, would love for you guys to come to a health fair that I'm hosting in a couple weeks. It's like, sure, we'll be there. Well, as it turns out, that date was when my birthday was. I was already going to be out of town, but Jordan went. And so Jordan's at the event. Other services are there. Other practitioners are there. And Jordan had a chance to meet one practitioner who was on Marco Island. She's an occupational therapist. She asked a question, hey, can this help with pelvic floor things? And she goes, you know what? I don't know. Let's call Doug. And we went on ChatGPT. I was on the phone with her, but we went on ChatGPT. That conversation happened. But also, another person came to Jordan's table for Ollie Life, and her name was Linda Silva. And so what I would like to do is introduce Linda Silva, or have her introduce herself. And Linda's going to tell a little bit about her background, but then she's going to tell the story on how she got to meet and interact with Jordan. And then we'll talk about the sequence of events that led to her enrolling, and then what she's doing now. So we'll pause there. I'm going to turn it over to Linda. And Linda, thank you so much for being on today's call. And would you start by just maybe introducing yourself, background, and then let's talk about that event before we get into your practice, okay?
Sure. Background, I have been a licensed mental health counselor since 2023. My focus is trauma-informed therapy. I love, any of you know this, polyvagal therapy as well as somatic therapy. Those are the bottom-up modalities to use before we can get to the top down, which is the cognitive behavioral and all of that. So I have been utilizing those modalities for quite some time. So that's a little bit about me and my practice. What was the next?
And then you were at the event, and because we're going to start talking more about how we met, how we met. But tell us a little bit about that health fair that you were at, where a mutual friend had you come over and speak with Jordan.
Yes. So I was at the event as a vendor. My occupational therapist was there, and we struck up a conversation. She was talking to me about how I have shoulder issues, and how I'm not responding to therapy. And she's kind of stumped on that and had recommended, who's not a distributor, by the way, she recommended that I go speak to Jordan. So I went to talk to her.
Because she had stopped and talked with Jordan earlier. Is that right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. I didn't know that. Anyway, so I went to go talk to Jordan, and when I told her what was going on with my shoulder, I was doing this purely for personal reasons. I sat down, we had the 20-minute session. She brought out the wand. She put it on my shoulder. I could feel a difference. And honestly, I just really fell in love with Jordan. She has this compassion and this spirit and this presence about her that I said, wow, I want to know more about this. In fact, I said, I have to have this machine. I want to bring this into my life. And so that is when I guess there's activity behind the scenes. And we ended up, Doug, Jordan, and I ended up coming to my therapy practice office, and they introduced the machine. And there was a few days in between that event and them coming. So I got my mind going. Of course, I started looking at it. I use a PEMF device already on a smaller scale. And so I just dove into it and thought, I'm definitely getting a machine, because this is going to revolutionize my mental health practice and getting people to move from the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight, into a parasympathetic, which makes it so much easier for us to utilize the therapeutic modalities that are able for them to retain and implement outside of sessions. So I was just super jazzed all about it. And yeah.
That's super exciting. And thank you for that recap, Linda. So I do recall joining Jordan. I would say, unlike other times that Jordan has connected me with fellow practitioners or friends, ours was a little bit different. I don't know if it was a phone call, but we didn't share the same amount of information. I think, Jordan, because you did your test drive at the health fair, you had enough and you were familiar with PEMF. And if I recall, it was then when the three of us were together that I think Jordan might have positioned that I also work with practitioners on different models that could bring revenue streams to to their practice. I think you'd already started to think about this, but there's a fine line with the patients that you see. And so, Linda, can we talk? Can we talk a little bit about a little bit more about how you want to? And I know you've started, so how you are beginning to incorporate the P90 Plus into your practice. I think some's virtual, some's in person. But can you talk a little bit about maybe the ideal person that you're going to introduce it to, or an example of some that you have, and then we'll talk about on the business model side what we are and are not going to do. But let's talk about the ideal person based on your client portfolio now. Who do you see using that, and maybe who have you introduced it to so far? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, sure. So anyone who is emotionally dysregulated can benefit from this machine. So honestly, every single client that walks through the store, it works for them. I used it with 3 different clients today in particular. I just introduce it as, hey, this could help you. I have an informed consent that I have them sign so that they know, hey, Linda gave me all the bennies and maybe some things that I haven't thought about, and yes, I want to try it. So got all that out of the way. And yeah, every single client actually benefits from it. I haven't had anybody say that wasn't beneficial because I set it up. Do you want me to go into how I set it up
Please,
and how I use it in
please,
the
yeah,
business?
yeah.
Okay, so I set it up as this is going to bring you into a state of relaxation. So I want to enhance that for you on all levels. So I will dim the lights. I play soft music. I use essential oils in my practice as well. And so I get that some on a cotton ball and I have them hold that. I let them know what's going to happen with them. But we dim the lights. The last lady that I had, she actually wore one of the masks, the satin mask, so that she could go in a little bit deeper. She's used to meditating, so she really wanted the entire experience. So I tried to look at all the 5 senses and try to make that as calming as possible for the client. And some I'll stay in the room. Others I say, you got this, I'm leaving. I'll come back before about 5 minutes before you're done. So yeah, that's how I'm using it. I get tons of people who say, where can I get this machine? I want more information about it. So yeah, it's wonderful. And there is a caveat too to this. So this is how Jordan and I have used this also. Last week, I was doing a workshop presentation at our local arts center, and it was a mindfulness meditation, including an art therapy, watercolors. And so I thought, wait, that it's been planned since January. I haven't signed up maybe a week and a half. I don't know, something like that. And I thought this would be a good idea for Jordan to come. I'd put her in the back and I would introduce at the end. Actually, in the beginning, I said something, but at the end of the workshop, I said, if anyone is interested about going a little bit deeper in your meditative state where you're at, and there's some health benefits that you can gain too. But Jordan is in the back. She had her machine, I had mine. So we had 2 machines going. We did mini sessions. We did a 5-minute, because there are a lot of people there. We did a 5-minute mini session. And how we presented it was, if you want more, let us know, and you can come to Jordan's shop or my office, but you'd sign up for therapy at that point too. But go to Jordan's shop and get a free mini or free full session. Oh, and how we presented this to the crowd too. We said not everybody can participate. So Jordan put these little star stickers underneath where they were sitting at their table. And we said, everyone look under your table, feel under your table. If you've got a star, you've just received a free gift. You've won a 5-minute mini massage with Jordan. So everybody, and I had the meet and greet after. She had people lined up at her station and they were literally kicking us out of there. The art director's like, it's time. It's time. Like, Jordan, we have to stop. Yeah. Sorry, guys, we'll have to stop. So I don't know the follow-up. This just happened, Friday. So I don't know what kind of follow-up that we've got going on right now. But I thought of that later, that when we were talking about that, that's another way that we're reaching the community also.
We'll have Jordan give the follow-up on that too. And thanks. I forgot about that, Linda. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I think what we're hearing though is, these events, these health fairs, a lot of us are asking, well, how do I get past the front office at a practitioner's office? Or what's my initial email? Or what do I say when I do a phone call? Well, think about the live events. What a better way to look for opportunities to collaborate. Before we part ways, I'll share one more story that happened with me over the weekend as well. So Linda, that's a great recap on how you're using it in your in your practice. Everyone can benefit from it. The precautions for a few that cannot. You've decided, I know you also have some friends who can use this as well. And so I believe as you started to learn more about the business side, you had two trains of thought, right? Okay, what do I do with my patients? And then how am I going to approach my friends? You decided, if I may state it, and then you can add clarity, because a number of times we talk to practitioners, and it might just be, do you want to get one for your practice so that you can maybe differentiate yourself or add to or enhance whatever service they provide, right? And that's the model you decided. You decided, I want to get one for my practice so that I can share it directly with the patients. However, if someone wants to get one for themselves and benefit from it twice a day, every day, and maybe with others, can you share with the group what you've decided, what you shared back with Jordan and I about how you do or do not want to manage those patients?
Sure. So in my profession, folks come and share their innermost being. So it's a little bit different than going to a chiropractor or going to a nurse practitioner or a functional medicine person. It's really an intimate relationship. So I decided that I did not, with my clients, want to have any type of dual relationship with them. I didn't want it to appear as if I was coercing them in any way or a power position. Usually folks come in and they kind of place their therapist up high and, I will do whatever you say. And that's really not the relationship that you want to create. So I didn't want to create that dynamic. And so for those reasons, how I'm doing it is anyone who is interested of a client that they want to buy the system or get more information about the system, I filter to Jordan and to Doug for them to work and navigate. Any of my friends who are practitioners or family members or anyone that I know this could benefit them and they would benefit from the business model that's attached to it. Those are the ones that I put. I don't know what the left. You tell more about
it's newer and it's still coming together. Absolutely. So to recap that, when Linda sends a patient or a patient's family member to Jordan and myself, because there was a discussion and there would be benefit for them having one, purchasing one, we take care of enrollment and we place them on our team, but not under Linda. She doesn't want to have anything tied to that, or at least not as a sponsor. For those, as she just stated, she had one of her dear friends, Ralph, who maybe we'll have on a call sometime, who's enrolling. He's all excited. He's, we're going to see them this Saturday at our local small event that we're having. We're doing business as usual with them, getting them set up on the connection center, the launch pad, everything to do, feed them everything they want. And Linda may have friends who just want the product too and not do the business. So we'll sort all that out together. But what I thought was pretty special, and Linda, I think you captured that perfectly, is that this is a situation where it wasn't, you weren't going to enroll them. You weren't going to sell it to them in a retail model. It was pass it on to the team. Because I'm still helping the patients. They're paying for your services the way they are already. And so they're going to benefit from your services anyhow. And then the team can benefit from that as well. It is a similar model I will share. I work with a primary care physician up in Ohio and here in the US. And when she has a conversation with patients, a lot of times it's around bone density. That seems to be the population she's getting. When she talks about the benefits of PEMF and she has it in her practice, they try it. If they want to get one, what she does is she refers them to her distributor, which is me. And so then I run with it from there. Now I have had one patient say, well, does, Dr. So-and-so get anything from this? I said, oh yeah, there's a referral fee for her. So that's, we don't dance around that. We're not hiding anything, but it's also how she chose to position herself as a supplier, distributor, or not. And so there are options, and you have to do what works best for you. Mm-hmm. So I think we covered, a lot, how you work it in your practice, how you came to be. Linda, anything else that you want to share with the group? I do want to kind of pull this together, and then we'll see if there are any questions there. But before we do that, anything else to share with the team?
Well, this is a little goofy, but I'm going to share it anyway.
We like goofy.
I have named my P90 Plus. So her name is Hannah, my healing helper. And the clients who come in ask me all the time, is Hannah going to be with us today? So, absolutely hysterical how that has caught on. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. So I mentioned Amy, who was one of the vendors at the event, practitioner. She does the sound therapy at the Zen Den. When she got her system came in, it was right after she had an open house. And Amy had this idea that, okay, she just got the P90 Plus. She has this Zen Den. She sent a message out to her current members and say, hey, I'm looking for 10 volunteers who could come try this new PEMF system because I'm trying to decide if I want to add this to the services I provide here. Well, she got all kinds of responses, and so she scheduled them out throughout the day. So we went there, we did that. Later that day, and we brought our own systems because hers wasn't in yet. Well, later that day, her system arrived, and she took a picture of it with the box and then her dog, and she goes, hey, guess what the dog's name is? And I said, Ollie. I was just taking a guess. Why are you asking? Because you might think there's a chance we could guess. Well, sure enough, the dog's name was Ollie, but Ollie. So I think we all, and I think now she's calling the device Ollie too. So I think many of us probably have nicknames for our magic healing power there, right? Yeah. So think about, today, and Linda, thank you so much for sharing these calls. This is exactly what these calls are about, is to learn how philosophies and practice, ethics and, actions that you take, but also how you go about thinking about it, how you go about sharing it, how you go about introducing that. Because when we're trying to introduce this to other practitioners, it's nice to have a few examples. Hey, I know the one practitioner does this and that. So this is exactly what these calls are all about, and I appreciate you sharing that. I'll share one more, and then I see Kalimna. Thank you I see your hand. We'll get to your question there. I do want to kind of pull this full circle. You'll remember that it was attending a pickleball event, or any event, but it was an event where my wife and I were there, that we went up and struck up a conversation. It happened to be with Jordan this time. So this past weekend here in Florida, we host the US Open pickleball event. It's 64 courts. It's a week-long event. and there's all kinds of vendors and tents. So I took my wife's brilliant idea. Don't tell her I said it was that good, but it was good. So I took her idea and I went to the different tents, and sure enough, I came across a vendor that was there. It was a chiropractor who also had a colleague, a nurse practitioner. They were doing a type of stem cell activity, but they had other alternative progressive ways for anti-aging, healing, and so on. So I went up and struck a conversation with them, and I wasn't there to pitch. I asked what they do, listened to the 5 or 10 minute ordeal. They brought in different people, meet the staff, meet the team, and so on. And I was genuine. I want to know. But then I asked, I go, is there a day during the week that your practice would be available so that I could come and discuss possible ways we can collaborate? Because I work with practitioners all in the area, and I think there's something that we might be able to do together. I did not get into it. I wasn't there to pitch. There's all kinds of activity going around. That's the last thing they want, is people trying to pitch their business when they already paid the fee that they paid to have their table, to have their booth, to have their tent at this event. They said, sure, Friday after 1 o'clock, we're always here. Perfect. So we're working on setting up that meeting the next available Friday that I have, because I know that's when it is. But I did send a thank you and so on. So the point in sharing this today is there are many ways and opportunities to get in contact with the variety of practitioners that are out there. That doesn't have to always be clinic setting. It can be fairs, it can be pickleball events, you name it. Keep your eyes open for opportunities to strike up a conversation. And as we learned in other calls, it doesn't have to be, that first conversation doesn't have to be to pitch what you had to pitch. Build a relationship and look for the opportunity, look for the invite to go have a further discussion about possible ways to collaborate. Okay, so we'll pause there, and then I see at least one hand up, so we can open up microphones. We'll start, and I do like the idea, if you want to raise your hand first, please do so, but then we can open up microphones and go from there. So Kalimna, you want to share what you have to say there? And let Ask to unmute. Let's see. Can you unmute? Yeah, there you go. All right.
Yes, I'm unmuted now. Thanks. Thanks, Linda. That was absolutely perfect for what's going on at the moment here as well. What I wanted to ask is just like, what level are you actually putting people on to start? Because I've been doing gatherings and that as well. And generally, I was always starting, I tune into the person, see if they're extra sensitive or not. And quite often it'd be like on around about a 3, maybe a 4 if someone had had experience on frequency devices previously. And that always seemed to work really well, even though I would say if you've got one at home, I would always start on 1 and listen to your body and build up slowly, the usual sort of thing. But all of a sudden, a whole lot of people got really super sensitive and had possibly detox reactions on a 3. And I sort of went, ooh, I don't want to scare people off. It's finding that balance. So I was just wondering how you structure that part, and anybody else for that matter as well.
Yeah. So I had an adverse reaction. I OD'd on my Hannah. Just gotta share. So one morning I woke up early, 4 a.m., right? And then I decided before I went to work at 8 to do another session with her. And I was just at level 3, 20 minutes both times. And what I experienced was extreme nausea and fatigue. And I actually got more anxious, believe it or not. Weird, I know. So I thought, ooh, okay, I just did too much, too soon, too, close together. So,
Didn't listen to the 4-hour break in between, but that's okay.
Didn't listen, no, because I'm of the mindset, if it's good, more will be great, right? No. So anyway, I just thought, when I'm, regardless if they've got a meditative practice, if they use a machine. I am not looking for a huge change, because one of my mottos that I say are gentle shifts equal profound change if done over and over and over again in a consistent basis. So it's always 20 minutes at a level 2. I do have them do the body check, the scan, like, where are you from anxiety wise on a scale from 1 to 10, and then I'm like, where are you holding anything in your body? Most people say I feel it in my throat or my stomach or my chest. And then once they're on the machine, I just have them take a deep breath and release. And I say, okay, you were at a 7 when we started. Where are you with your anxiety now? You were, you felt it here and it felt like a swirling ball of fire. What's going on in there now? So that's how I let them know that the gentle shifts, they did have a takeaway. But I find that people need that before and after check-in so that they can evaluate what they're, where they're at.
And maybe a follow-up question to that, Linda. And Kalimna, did you have another follow-up question for Linda, or was that good?
No, that was great. That was
Okay.
perfect. So thank you so much, Linda. Thanks, Doug.
Linda, yeah, absolutely. So Linda, you made me think of something. So you're newer to owning your own P90 Plus. You've had your practice a lot longer. Have you had an opportunity to use this, or do you think you would use it for a first-time new patient? Because you're talking, what you're sharing right now, I would imagine are folks that you already have a relationship with as a practitioner. Is that not the case, or can you?
It happened today. It happened today. So a new person came in. This was the throat thing going on, right? New person came in, we had our intake, and I said to her, hey, I've got some clients back to back right now. I do have a break at 3. Could you come back at 3? And I'm not going to have you talk or anything. I just want to get you on Hannah. And she said yes. So it happened. I was very hard set on that. We're not talking. You can nod, give me thumbs up or whatever, but no conversation. I just want you to experience this because I really think it could benefit you. First time I met her, and she came back, 3 hours later. So
fantastic. Can't wait to hear the results there. In the chat, someone had asked, Linda had referenced another event where people were doing it for 5 minutes, kind of a quick session there. And they asked what level they were doing. Jordan responded in the chat that they were doing level 2 for that. So just as FYI, I know we've talked about where do you start people and do you have to do the full 20 minutes and things like that. That's a whole nother topic and a whole nother discussion. But what I will say is when you are short on time and the goal is just to help them feel something, I think there's a little bit more freedom in the shorter period of time to bump it up a little bit, but choosing to be cautious as long as they feel something so that they know they're curious enough to learn more. When you only have short periods of time, you have a little bit more flexibility, I think, there.
Yeah. I did notice something come up in the chat. So just a caveat, I do have I have bottled water in the refrigerator here in my office. So I always put a bottle of water next to a client when they come in. I don't ask if they want it. I just put it down. And when they get on the machine, I say, hey, you got water there. If you want it, it's really good to hydrate. So I just saw something come up. I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I saw CJ had a comment about the tolerance and where you start and things like that. Thank you for sharing that, CJ. Yeah, men want to go higher for whatever. It seems to be the trend, right? Bump it up. And then I had a practitioner who did it to level 12 on day 2. So, listen. All right. So is it Cassia? Am I pronouncing that correctly? And then you can unmute yourself and fire away. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I can help.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Doug. My name is Cassia. So my question is, what would be the most effective way to present our PEMF devices to an endocrinology clinic, emphasizing that their role in the detox and hormone, optimization programs that they are offering? Thank you.
Yeah. Linda, do you have any thoughts? I have some thoughts to share there as well, but
I'll let you
you want-
share your thoughts. I'll keep
Yeah.
thinking.
So what I will say that I've been doing, so I do a lot of reach out now. So this is month 10 for me, sharing Ollie Life. And while I always wanted to work with and partner with practitioners, I started with friends and family. So I've ran that, if you will, and now I'm helping other friends and family get there too, and so on. So but I spend my time thinking about practitioners to collaborate with, to reach out with. And so I don't know that I have the exact answer, but the approach I would take is I would actually start with ChatGPT. And I did this working with Jordan. We were going to go after a chiropractor that she was once a patient there for. And we used the angle that, and Jordan goes, "Hey, I think Dr. So-and-so would be, you guys are like-minded. I think there's a great opportunity to collaborate." So I just used ChatGPT and said, "Hey, I'm a retired physical therapist working with chiropractors, physio, functional med, naturopath, looking for opportunities to collaborate with other like-minded individuals." And I shared a little bit more about what my goals and objectives would be, not only to help get good patient outcomes, but also find additional revenue streams. And it gave me an email template that I've since used. And so to your question, I might add, if I want to target or work with an endocrinologist, knowing the benefits on how PEMF, what are the benefits on how PEMF can help patients that an endocrinologist could see. If I add that into the query for ChatGPT, I think it'd be a good start to see, okay, what's the angle, right? Because we know, for example, the shaken and, is it visceral fat? Yes, but it's also, reproductive organs. It's also digestive gut, all the hormones and things like that. PEMF itself, when you do the research, it's going to tell you how it can enhance the different systems, the endocrine system, and so on. So I would start with that. And then the other thing I would just add is, while I did send the initial email, I didn't get a response from the email. It was me stopping by the office a week later after not getting a response. And I went in and asked the same question I did at the pickleball event I did. I stopped in and say, "Hey, my name's Doug Cundiff. I'm stopping by to see if there's a day of the week that Dr. So-and-so sets time aside to discuss opportunities to collaborate." And she goes, "Oh, are you Doug?" And so they saw my email. They just didn't respond, but I got an appointment that way. So I hope that helps, Kasha, but that's an initial thought that I would have. I think first, now there might be, I don't know if there are other practitioners or other folks who have worked with endocrinologists on the call. Please raise your hand and chime in. We're not the only ones who have all this knowledge. But that's where I would start, as far as, what's the angle that you can add that chat could give you that says, for, looking for opportunities to collaborate with folks, especially patients who have this or this challenge, as long as you have confirmed that PEMF has something that would address challenges that practitioner sees.
Perfect. Thank you. But I have an additional question, maybe a little bit outside.
One per call. Sorry, one per call. No, go ahead.
A little bit outside of the medical space. Maybe a question to everybody. Do you have any experiences with people like artists after using our PEMF and terahertz, let me say, toys? Are they claiming that their creativity is, enhanced?
I would love to see those responses. If you have worked with artists or have some thoughts, would you please put that in the chat? If it's a great story that you can share, please open your mic and do so. And Kaleem, yes, I'll share the email template to answer your question there.
So I'm going to share, this is not an artist, but this is what happened with the person, a friend of mine that I put on my right. So he is loves the quantum physics aspect of life. Okay. And he has just gotten off of about 2 months ago seeing Joe Dispenza for an entire week. He learned how to meditate and he is very into that. So how I presented this to him, I said on a Saturday morning, hey, I know you meditate at 1 o'clock. Do you have time beforehand? I just got this machine and I really think it could benefit you. Here's my hope. My hope is that you get on the machine first and experience like opening yourself up. And then when you go into your meditation, I am postulating and theorizing that you're going to get to a deeper level. It's going to take you to a new plane that you've not been to in your meditative practice before. I don't know, but that's what I'm hoping for you. So then I went over. He said, sure, got on the machine, was on the machine for 10 minutes. He goes, this stuff is really working. I can feel it. As soon as he got done with his meditation, he called me. I'm in. I want to be a distributor. I want everything there is to know about this machine. I'm on it. So that's not an artist, but artists are also in that same openness and that same space of experiencing those frequencies. So I can imagine that the response would be very similar.
Linda, thank you so much. Tanya's on this call. We'll allow her to share too, but she says yes, she's noticing it. So she's falls in that realm there, Kasia. Sharon, you want to unmute, and are you able to unmute? Let's see if you're able to do so. Let's see there.
Great.
There we go.
Hey guys, well, I did. I've been using it with dancers before they dance, and what I find is that they're just so much more. They say they're so much more grounded and in their body and less in their head, and they can really just be in the dance more without so much cognitive stuff going on, as well as obviously also for the physical element of dancing. And before breath work, so similar to Linda in terms of the meditation, before they're going into breath work, they're just going so much deeper into their breath work. And they're also able to like open up new, like someone had the shaken massager on them before they did the breath work, and suddenly this whole element of like womb healing and kind of womb healing and rebirth and stuff came up in their typical breathwork sessions. So yes, not artists particularly, but yes, as I mentioned, I think in a session on Sunday, with art therapists, they're finding that their clients are being able to sink more into their body, more into their hearts, more connected with their body, feeling safer than when they produce their art within their therapy. It's just so much more connected and open, and they're not coming in cold. So they've been kind of warmed up to their body and their feelings and their senses. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Sharon, thank you so much for sharing that. That's terrific there. Tanya, I know you're out doing your morning walk. I would imagine. I can tell by the sky and trees that I see. But Tanya, did you want to add to? I know you quickly responded there, but did you have something to add to that as well? And maybe not. Okay. Kalimna, did you have your hand up for any other question? Or I see it there. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a really quick story with a brand new enrollee that has just started using her P90 Plus, and she's had a history of constipation, which corrected with one session, but it almost went the other way when she continued. So she went to see her kinesiologist a couple of days ago and rang me so excited. Her kinesiologist tested for her compatibility with Ollie. And
Oh,
she came up 99% compatible with the P90 Plus, 98% compatible with her shaken. But then her kinesiologist just said, I have to know what you're using. So she's sent out some things that I'd already given her to send out to anyone interested. And now she's coming to an event in Melbourne next month. So it's like, go back to your old practitioners, because I've gone back to some of my old ones as well. And they've gone, what are you doing? You're rocking. And then it opens the door. It's amazing. So just wanted to share that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Tanya, it looks like, are you having trouble undoing your mic? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm actually not walking, and can you see my camera? So I'm here. I'm just needing to see my camera. I want to turn the camera around. So I'm
That looks
here.
like a horse to me.
Yeah, so I'm lying here on the earth. I'm just not seeing my camera. It's a bit weird. Where's my screen? So
That's okay, Tanya.
I,
What do you have to
can you
share?
can you see my face and the horse?
Nope, not right now, but we did see glimpses. Oh, there we see the horse in the distance there. Yep.
Yeah, and I just want to turn the camera around. Is it turned around? Can you see my face?
We see, yes, we see you both.
Yes. I'm lying here on the ground with the horse, and I have my whole body on her. She has a very tense spine. I work every day with her and her spine. So today she's lying down, and I have my whole body here pressed against her, and I'm deeply relaxing and charging my PMF from that I have charged my body up this morning. I share that with her in that way. And what I want to say is that as a therapist, we are also life artists, and my therapy is very creative, and I'm observing that I'm just so becoming in all ways more creative, and I'm seeing that in everybody, and then as therapists, there's just my direct knowledge of not the modalities that I learned. I mean, they're my foundation, but my direct knowledge of what my being knows already, how to help this person or this animal that I am with in this moment. So my senses, my perception of all of that, the creativity of using the life force and the healing forces has increased significantly. And that's what I'm watching also in artists and in art therapists. And this is a life art. We are all like life artists. And this goes into all areas. And we are just like tapping onto seeing all of this, I feel. And then if we are painters, if we are songwriters, or my poetry, my songwriting, all of that from my own experience, I have been increasing that also with the help of AI. We can go and make songs with AI and all these different things. That's what I'm watching in myself. And as a therapist, I am working very differently with the bodies, even more so than I used to already.
Tanya, thank you so much for sharing. That's excellent. Yeah, certainly what's coming out here, we're talking about practitioners, but the opportunities and the audiences that we can reach out to is endless. I did see a question about sharing the template. I'm going to put the template, the email template that I referenced, into the Awakening chat in our Connection Center. So you can grab that, plug it into ChatGPT, and ask it to take that and make it your own, give it some personalization that works for you there. So I'll do that after the call. There's a question from CJ. Are there any practitioners using the Galaxy G1 for optometry? If there are any practitioners on the call or anyone who has called on or is collaborating with any optometrists, if you could raise your hand and open your mics, that would be great. And if not, we could certainly put that out in the chat to look for that in the future. I'll kind of give it a moment there to see there. And then let me see if there are any other questions. We're approaching the top of the hour there. Yeah, and then, so the question, Tara, as far as where you can find the call recording. So while, there are still many of us on the WhatsApp, all the call recordings are going to the Connection Center. So we have an events section that has the calendar of what calls coming up. But then under the resource library, there's call recordings. And for each category of calls, the Mondays, the Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, the recordings will be found there. Luigi, he's nonstop doing all this, but he gets them posted fairly quickly. So be patient, but it will get there for sure. There was a glitch with last week. So if someone's looking for last week, that's why that wasn't there. Doug, did Linda, that uses Ollie remotely?
So there's, remotely. No, I don't. Okay. And if that's a possibility, I'm interested. I'm totally open to that.
Very good. All right. So I will put the email template in the Awakening chat, which is in the Connection Center, not on WhatsApp. So if you're not in the Connection Center, you need to get in because that's where it's going to be. And I think that's it for today. So Linda, thank you so much for sharing your story. Jordan, I think you're still on if you haven't passed out, because I know you're getting sick and sicker as the day goes on. Thank you so much for getting this ball rolling with the health fairs and the health event. This is how it all happened. And it was just another creative way that we were able to engage and then ultimately collaborate with Linda. And so my eyes and ears are open now for all these events because I'm going to attend them. I'm going to listen and learn what they do and see if there's a time that we can discuss potential collaborates. I will not attend health fairs to pitch, but I will use it to set up meetings.